What is up, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of a one-of-a-kind social media talk show from the comments. I'm your host, Austin Rietsch, and I'm super excited to be filming our very first discussion here in Denver, Colorado with Rhino Point Studios. With everything going on in the world today, people having so many different opinions and so much passion, it's truly incredible to see what social media has done for us. Arguing endlessly with strangers on the internet, it doesn't really go anywhere. So let's try to take it somewhere, shall we?
Let's go.
For our very first episode, we're going to be talking about the all too apparent social media phenomenon known as cancel culture. We have our guest over here. She is a social media enthusiast and TikTok content creator, Chloe Eleanor. Welcome, Chloe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. And before we get started with the cancel culture subject, I do have kind of a personal question for you.
Let's hear it.
No pressure. We all tend to have our own online personalities with social media. What is one thing you would like to share with our viewers that speaks to who you are in real life versus your online personality?
I mean, like we were talking about before the show, I feel like who I am online is pretty close to who I am in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has attributed to gaining the following I have.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if I were to say anything for people trying to pursue this or people in social media, like authenticity is the best thing you can do. Especially
on social media, including TikTok, just following trends just to get those views going and make that money. But
yeah,
you know what? You can't lose yourself in that.
Exactly. And so many people do. And I think that's why there's so much mental illness in the industry, because people just get so addicted to the persona they've made online, and they get addicted to the positive feedback they get from that fake persona. So I feel lucky that I've kind of been able to avoid that.
Maneuver around it. Oh, yeah, totally. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of
I really
course.
Appreciate it. So cancel culture.
Whew.
It's a big deal nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with, everyone has access to social media and they can just say whatever they want on there.
Mm-hmm.
What is cancel culture to you, and why do you think we care so much about it?
So I think we have entered in the past couple of years, I think we've entered a phase of being more aware, politically, being more aware of how we treat people, which is great. But with social media, I think what that's done is just project the issue and amplify it so much more. So I think people have gotten way too politically correct and way too sensitive, because when you're on social media and everyone's talking about that, it's gonna amplify.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that people tend to go straight to that point and have that power, which is great. That's what social media has provided us, but is it really necessary?
So I feel like the reason, and this is kind of occurring to me now, I'm having like an epiphany.
Yeah.
I think that, we post on social media because to a degree we want that validation. And if people aren't getting that validation from the content they post, I think there is a lot of validation people get from being like social justice warriors or whatever, or like sharing an opinion. And then when their comments start getting likes, then they get kind of addicted to like oversharing their opinion. So I think it absolutely has something to do with people find a lot of value in other people agreeing with their opinions. And then that's almost like adding fuel to the fire. Like, oh, well, these people loved when I called out this influencer. Like, let's drag her. Let's drag her even more, because I'm gonna get more attention for this. And then people start making videos about it. And I think it kind of becomes like a little bit of a drug.
So now let's jump right into the comments. So our first comment comes from a user on Facebook that was upset about Kellogg's promoting their brand during Pride Month, that says, together, it has the Pride colors on it and everything. And the user said, well, oatmeal it is, because they're not going to buy this product now that they're, quote unquote, having an agenda for this cereal box. It's literally just a cereal box. Like, that's all it is. And a user commented on that saying that it's a damn shame we can't even enjoy a box of cereal without a fucking agenda.
I think there's more of a negative agenda in that.
Because they have their own agenda with it.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously they're affected negatively for some reason by the LGBTQ community.
You know what? People all have their opinions, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, Kellogg's obviously, or any sort of brand, they're huge.
Yeah.
And some random person on the internet being upset about something that they do, like, what does that actually amount to?
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't really go anywhere to begin with.
Nothing at all.
So why would someone feel the need to even put that out there? Is it, like you said earlier, just about the attention and for the likes and trying to get that support system for people that think the same way that they do?
I absolutely think so, because, you know, I've met people in real life who might not agree with the LGBTQ movement, but you don't look at their social media and you don't see them throwing it around. Like, they have their beliefs and they know that about themselves, but they don't need to take it online. So when people are taking such hateful things online, I think that's their own agenda. And I think they kind of like, you know, like that negative feedback, because it can also feel good to argue with people about it.
Right. You know, I mean, it could be entertaining for sure, but then there's that power aspect where people feel powerful that, you know, it gets all this attention and all this praise, and, you know, like Kellogg's isn't going to do anything about it. No brand or no business is going to change anything just because people are upset about something that they did.
Exactly.
Unless like the majority is just totally against this.
Yeah.
But again, who assesses that? I mean,
and I mean,
I guess we do. But.
Yeah. And I don't remember the outcome. It was so long ago, but it reminds me of when, you know, Nike had the Colin Kaepernick thing going on, and so many people were enraged, but Nike didn't, like, that was a horrible backlash. Yeah. I don't think Nike all of a sudden decided to take his platform away.
Right.
Like, you know, the brand believes in what they believe in, and I don't think the brand necessarily wants, you know, some racist or some homophobic supporting them. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, that's definitely what social media can do for us. But
yeah.
And you mentioned earlier about Kaepernick and how it kind of became a political issue. We also have another comment, which this user was describing cancel culture as being part of the liberal, leftist, Democrat, progressive, socialists are the driving force behind the cancel culture. Should cancel culture, I mean, it's something we created ourselves.
Yeah.
When did it become such a political matter, and does it even have a place in politics, or should it?
Yeah, so I think there is a lot of political aspects to it. I agree with a lot of what that comment says. And I think, like, I've been in social media for years, like working in it professionally since like 2018. And I think that's when social media really started taking off. So I've been able to see like how people react on different platforms. I have never seen anything like TikTok. And I remember when I was young, when I was that age, you know, 13, 14, and I think that's where a lot of the cancel culture comes from. I would get really addictive about things or obsessive about things. Like I'd get obsessive about like Taylor Swift and like, you know, knowing everything about her. And I think that has to do with that age. They have the time to be obsessive about things. Now all of a sudden 13-year-olds have platforms. Like I think a lot of it has stemmed from young people on TikTok getting too much freedom, in my opinion, to be on the internet. And it has just, there's no way to monitor it when there's such big apps with billions of people or millions of people on it, whatever. Like there's no way to monitor it. So it's like a wildfire. And I think TikTok has really just skyrocketed cancel culture because all these young people have all this time to be obsessive about hating people.
Yeah, and the thing with TikTok too, it's not like a platform like YouTube necessarily where you can like search something up specific to what you want to be seeing. TikTok can just throw anything at you and you're just like, all right, why am I getting this now? You know?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and which is great because then it exposes, you know, people from our generation as well as other users to things that they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to before.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't have, any idea about it or just any drive to learn more about something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, really, I guess why would we turn it into something outside of the social media realm, though? Because this is social media.
Yeah.
It could just stay, within the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But why is there that political aspect to it now or I guess I'm kind of answering my own question now that I think about it.
I love that.
Because if you do, social media is a tool in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of politics comes into play in social media. And you're exposed to, like I said earlier, you're exposed to a lot of things you don't necessarily know about initially. So you're learning a lot. But also on that spectrum, you can make a difference within social media and within politics through that exposure. So I guess, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that comment, having a certain political party or political ideology associated with cancel culture in itself.
Yeah.
Because you see it from so many different sides.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just, one or the other.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just wondering where in the timeline since cancel culture started, where did that narrative come from? Where it's now directed towards people who are more left-leaning than right or somewhere in the middle.
The media has been doing that for us for years.
And the media has its own narrative itself.
Exactly. Like everyone's going to listen to the things they lean towards. Like I wouldn't listen to a bunch of, podcast of the opposite side of whatever political side I'm on because I'm not interested in that.
Right.
It's like the media has been doing this forever, but all of a sudden now the people are kind of in their own media.
Mm-hmm.
So I think especially with the election and it was hard 4 years ago. It was hard this year.
Right.
Like, we've just had a bigger voice. And I think the media really amplified that, the Trump Biden thing. I think that's where politics came in. And then people got a platform to talk about how they felt about that.
Right. And do you think social media kind of turned politics into a form of like entertainment?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, I don't know if you knew about this, but like there was a Trump rally back in like whenever it was. And all these TikTokers who didn't support Trump were like, you guys, we can reserve seats for this arena. And
yes. Okay.
And people were getting so excited. They were like, we can reserve seats and we don't even have to be there. And Trump's going to be so embarrassed. And then like people thought that was just the best thing ever. So it turned into entertainment. And, there's people on TikTok who make impressions of Trump. People want to watch the short form videos of what people have to say. So it's absolutely turned into entertainment.
Yeah.
And, Trump was a reality star. So
yeah.
Yeah,
That too.
he can be fun to watch.
You know what? Politics can definitely be entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So then going off of cancel culture again, there's an anti-cancel culture movement that cancels cancel culture. So this is kind of like a meme, I guess you would say, that a user posted. It says, what gives people feelings of power? Money, status, but the biggest one, digging up old tweets to cancel somebody.
Yeah.
Which is great. If somebody has that drive to go that far back and put in the effort to really, quote unquote, cancel someone just because they don't agree with their opinion or they don't like them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Props to them. You do you, but
a lot of time on your hands.
Exactly. But do you think, because there's people against cancel culture in itself, how, I don't know, that just kind of confuses me. Because if you're canceling cancel culture, that's exactly what cancel culture is.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of something that you don't agree with. So how that, I don't know, does that make sense to you? Like,
I think it makes sense to a degree because I think cancel culture has gone into this thing where you cannot make any mistake. You cannot make any mistake. And I think that's what people don't like. And when it comes to cancel culture, there's Unforgivable. And like, I think people shouldn't be have a platform. But, you know, most of the time, you know, I see creators getting canceled for just the silliest things. Like I saw someone the other day, there's a sound on TikTok that's like, I'm in the ghetto, if you remember that one. And it was a white person using it. And the comments were just flooded with it, like just flooded with hate. And it was not this creator making fun of, I don't even know. She wasn't doing anything evil, but people made her evil. And it was just thousands of comments. And I think things like that are ridiculous. And I think that's where that wanting to cancel culture comes from. Like people, we're humans. We're going to make mistakes. Like the fact that it's just people should be given second chances, I think, especially when it's little things. There's
right. And like, even if you take cancel culture outside of the internet realm, what in like your own friend group, would you be doing the same if someone that you personally knew said something or something that you didn't really agree with, and, you know, basically the same things that cancel culture is doing?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you give them a second chance?
Yeah. And that's
unless it's like so extreme to that point. But
yeah, there's obviously like a level of things that you can't really come back from without some solid proof that you've changed. But it's like interesting you bring that up. I had someone in my life a couple years ago that was very, you know, SJW, like online, like you have to be this way, like be perfect. Like these type of people suck. But in person, like they were not that person. And it was so bizarre. Like they were totally the opposite of this person they had curated online.
And why do you think that was? Do you think it's just because in the online realm you can have that popularity added to your life? Or is it just like, I'm this person, but I don't like to show it in person to others, so I'm going to show it online instead?
I think that we all have a higher self. I think we all have something that we want to be. But the reality of it is it is so hard to be a perfect human. It is so hard to not make mistakes. It is so hard to live the type of life you want. Like we all wish we could work out every day and eat super healthy, but it's really hard to do that. So I think online, I see so many people curating this life. I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday. I see so many people curating this life online and it looks so beautiful and it looks so aesthetic, but then I know what their real life is and it's chaotic. So, you know, maybe for some people, they like that they can control that aspect of the higher self of them they want to be. And it also probably feels really good to, if you have things in your life that you're not proud of, to just cut those out. And like the online world doesn't need to know about that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that probably feels super good. And I think that's why that happens. You know, people want to be better and it's hard to be better.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I mean, as far as like celebrities and politicians go, like you said, like there's an online personality and then there's the real you. Should we care so much about a celebrity or a politician that we don't actually have a personal relationship with, to the point where this person said that, you know, ages ago, or this person did this, we don't like them anymore. We're just going to be against them. Is that something that you think actually affects their life because of it? Or is it something where they can just, you know, brush off and continue on? Because again, you don't really know this person. And they don't have a personal relationship with you. So why should they care?
Yeah. Well, I mean, James Charles went through a pretty intense cancellation in the past couple of years for things that, you know, we'll never know the full story with whatever happened. I'm not sure if you're familiar with all that.
A little bit.
Yeah. So like there's no way we can know the full story, but from what we do know, it's some pretty serious allegations. And I was actually listening to a podcast or a video on YouTube today where they were talking about how he was at this huge party in LA with these huge influencers. And I was like, that is just so interesting that, like, you know, the whole internet hates him. Like, you know, he's under scrutiny all the time because of what he did. But then he's in LA with the people he knows in real life. And it seems like his life is super normal. And then it makes you wonder, you know, those are the people who are going to know him best. Like, is what he got canceled for real? So, you know, I think that people do live a pretty normal life outside of the internet cancellations. Because at the end of the day, the people in your real life are going to know you more than the people online. And that's happened in my own friend group where I've had a video that popped off and got a lot of negative feedback and it really affected me. But my friends, they were all like, we know that's not you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's two different things.
And do you think a lot of it could just be for publicity reasons, where they're just trying to get that attention, whether they're a politician or a celebrity or even, just like a TikTok creator? Do you think that kind of this controversy that's going on within the social media realm that sparks this cancel culture, do you think it's a good thing in itself for these people that are being canceled? Because then it gives that attention and it makes them known.
Yeah.
And people will talk about them. And I think it does help their career.
Yeah. And I guess it all depends on the person and what your morals are and like what you believe in and stuff. I think a lot of people thrive off the controversy. Jeffree Star, Trisha Paytas is like the biggest troll of them all.
Exactly.
But she's just living this lavish life. And it is because she has been so problematic. So I think some creators really like it. And I think it does help their careers a lot. There's a saying that like, is it negative press is good for, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't
No press is bad press. Because it's all good press or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Like, so, I think a lot of people really do strive on, creating those controversies for themselves, because in their real life, they're going to get more money. They're going to get more attention in their interpersonal lives. I think that if you can avoid getting canceled for controversial things and trolling, I think that's probably good. But, I usually creators financially benefit a lot from being canceled because all of a sudden they have all this traffic to their page. All of a sudden, they'll post a video and it'll be a million comments about how terrible they are, but a comment's a comment. TikTok isn't.
Exactly.
It's going to push out the video.
You're still being talked about.
Yeah, they're going to make so much money. So
exactly.
It can be a good thing if that's what you equate good to being, the financial gain, the popularity, whatever it might be, but it's not my cup of tea.
I'm sure it could be emotionally draining too. Yeah. I mean, that definitely, especially if your whole platform is, for entertainment purposes and, interacting with people that you don't really know. Because you only know them through the online realm. But yeah, I mean, case by case basis, I guess it all comes down to what the situation is and what these allegations may be, or how bad it could affect this person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you think cancel culture is going to end up? Do you think it's still going to continue to grow as social media becomes more apparent for practically everyone? Do you think eventually people are going to get tired and it's just going to die out? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry to get dark, but I'm going to get a little
love getting dark.
and a little real. And I'm a psych major, so I think about things in these ways and the effect it has on people. And I've felt the horrible effect it has had. Like, I've felt the effect of just a couple negative comments, and it hurts so bad, and it really affects you. Back in, I think it was like 2013, when Amanda Todd, I believe her name was, like, a young girl committed suicide because she just had an army of people just bullying her and she couldn't handle it. And I think what is going to happen, and I pray to God it doesn't happen, but one day this cancel culture is it's going to cancel the wrong person for something that wasn't that serious. And they're going to get millions of comments and messages. I've been told to kill myself. And that's with a smaller scale platform. Someone is going to send it to the wrong person, the wrong hate mob, and someone's going to kill themselves, I think, because just the obsessive hate you can get on the internet, it affects you so much.
And that's another thing too. Everyone on the internet is so caught up in this idea of sensitivity and being like, oh, you're so sensitive. It was a joke, this and that. But in reality, like, when do we create this narrative where being sensitive is a negative thing? Yeah. Like, I don't understand. I mean, definitely, politically speaking, we have Trump that was, saying a lot of things that you wouldn't expect from a politician. And that caused a stir between, everyone, because there's now feel more comfortable saying things to people that initially probably wouldn't be okay. Yeah. And so this sensitivity aspect comes into play. And it could be damaging, like you said, like it could affect someone so much where they can commit suicide.
Yeah.
It just, it's an emotional turmoil within them.
Yeah.
Really affects them. Even though they don't have a personal relationship with these people, it's still damaging. And
yeah,
it's something to think about, especially, reading all these comments online that could be offensive.
Yeah.
You can judge for yourself. Is what I'm saying offensive? Is it going to hurt anyone?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have those people being like, who cares?
Yeah.
Whatever you're saying that it's sensitive or offensive, say it. Because, you have that free speech aspect on the internet and you can say whatever you want. But
yeah. What's so interesting about like the hate comments and stuff, because it's like when people post a hate comment, it's one part of their day. It is just one part. But when you multiply that by 1,000, what ends up happening is like our brains, if you were receiving the hate, like our brains have neural pathways that when we hear something enough, like it starts to, like you start to believe it's true it clicks. And like, that's why affirmations and all that stuff works. Cause your brain is creating those new pathways. And then for someone to comment one thing in their life, they're like, oh, this isn't that bad. This is just my opinion. But on the receiving end of that, when you're receiving 1,000 comments about how you're worthless or how you're ugly, like you're going to start to believe that.
It's all flooding in. You're just like, what the fuck do I do? Like, why does everyone think this way? And then you're just like, this must be true. Even if you don't see it for yourself, things could change.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, shit. Like, maybe this is how I am, which is
it's
really
horrible.
Unfortunate. But that's why I always suggest you have your personal relationships with people in the real world.
Yeah.
Really assess who your friends are. Stay close to your family. People that you want to have around.
Absolutely.
Rather than, strangers on the internet. They don't matter. They're it's not gonna, like, it could affect your life, but you're not gonna really carry on with that relationship online past a certain comment.
It's like you're never gonna see these people ever again.
Yeah.
And the effort that people put into canceling is just like, it's exhausting.
It's
ironic though with people, like it's not everyone, but there's a lot of people in the name of being politically correct or being sensitive are the exact opposite of that. I had someone last week tell me to kill myself because I called them bestie.
What?
I don't remember exactly what the thread was, but they commented something. I don't know if it was about my looks or but they said like they got really angry about something. And I was like, calm down, bestie. And then they were like, F you, don't call me bestie. And then I was like, okay, sorry, bestie. and then all these other people were like, they told you not to call them bestie. What if they didn't identify with that? Like, that's so offensive when this person was like coming at me. And I'm like, why do you deserve the respect that you're asking for if I never did anything to you and you immediately started throwing knives?
Exactly.
And then they ended it with kill yourself. And I was like,
and that's the power people have on social media, and then it's like a wildfire. Yeah. Other people will join in. They'll start reading all these comments and be like, oh, let's just take her down for no reason. Just because. Like,
it happens all the time.
It's totally strange, but honestly, I don't know. It's interesting to read up on. It's interesting just to like see these people put forth the effort to get to that place. So again, thank you for coming on the show. I really liked your discussion today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for you guys.
Thank you. And to our viewers, if you come across something that's a little weird or controversial or flat out you're telling yourself, what the fuck is this? Feel free to send it in to us. We'd love to read about it and we'd love to have a discussion about it. Till then, I'll see you in the comments. And Chloe, for viewers, where could we find you online?
You can find me over on TikTok at Chloe Eleanor or Chloe.Eleanor with 3 R's.
Perfect. Be sure to check Chloe out, everyone.